This morning's class will be slightly more basic, but not necessarily too basic. It'll be taught as a regular class will be. You can practice it your own level and do what you fancy. But again, it's going to be more of a case of concepts and principles rather than actual technical ability as such. We might do a little bit more technical stuff this afternoon, but I've gone off down this route at the moment that I believe that if you get your principles right and the understanding of what you're doing, the technical stuff tends to follow anyway. If we sort of spend too long saying, put your foot here and grab here and move in this particular angle, people end up trying to kind of mimic that idea and being too specific. If they just knew what the principle was and the rough direction that they're moving in, the rest of it tends to follow quite easily. So that's kind of the scenario we're following at this point. Suwari waza to begin with, and again we're going to be working on the posture of Suwari waza, how to keep your centre in Suwari waza, which is probably one of the hardest things you can do in Suwari waza really. And this principle of understanding how one part of the body doesn't move without the other part. All the rolls that we've just been doing, they're quite simple. You should be able to do 200, 300, 400 of them. But after we did about 20, you can feel the stomach muscles aching a little bit already. Okay, it shouldn't really be there, because every time you're doing it, you shouldn't be using your stomach muscles to lift your body. It should just be one part reacting to the other. So my legs go forward and the weight of my legs brings my body up, the weight of my body brings my legs up. Okay, so yeah, there is some tension in your muscles, but they're not separated. It's not all muscles. I need to use the weight of my legs to help me move forward. Yeah? Suwari waza is exactly the same. All we're going to do is just an uchi practice, but just slowly, just one hand to contact. And then all I'm going to do normally, we try to do Ikkyo, but all I'm going to do is just using my contact here and my weight here, just try to find the balance to extend the other. And then I change to the other side. And again, I try not to, if I exaggerate, it's this side there. So you can see that it's not this side there. If I exaggerate, I'm trying to use my weight's now entering this, and I'm trying to find the position that allows him to lose his balance. Okay, obviously if you practice it like that, you're going to look a bit of an idiot. So the idea is, this idea is just to combine the two. But in reality, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm using my weight and movement to find the position that takes the balance. So I want everyone to begin with, just from this position, have a contact, use your leg, use your arm, and I try to move the two together to take the balance of the other. Okay? One power. Okay, this is very similar, same thing. Now, we're coming to the middle to me, and all we were doing before is trying to guide this action in a certain direction. Now what we want to do is just make it a little bit more like Ikkyo. So now I'm going to bring one arm up, and the other arm up, to take the balance. Okay, no different from what we've done before. But now I move the two hands together to create the action of the other. When we were away a couple of weekends ago, this idea, bringing the two up and then one carries on. Bringing the two to the elbow and one carries on. Okay? All that was a course we did a couple of weeks ago, exactly the same as this, but rather than here and here in the meeting, both hands come up, they meet at this point, and then one continues onto the other point. So it's like a bit like windscreen wiping. Both move together, they meet in the middle together, and then one just carries on. So it's, the front one never stops. Okay? But the back one, well, they both meet at the elbow, but the front one never stops. So rather than make it this idea, it's just that. Yeah, so relatively basic, just a new way of looking at it. So into the attack, rather than aiming to plant here and now carry on, or aiming to plant both at the elbow and then slide one up, I want to move one directly to the other. So, if you do, I think one of the ways of interpreting this is if you just do one hand, either one, but keep that same principle, it will still work. So now this time, I'm going to tap again, I'm just going to back hand. I just introduce the front hand, doesn't make any difference, but the back hand followed the right action. So it met at the elbow and carried on. Okay, now we're just going to do the front hand. It's this one this time. They both work. On the side. With both contact in the middle, they only stop and they carry on. Now ultimately, one is not as much control as two. So I'll put both. And that's it. Simple as. If you're practicing with somebody advanced and you go into a course and you've got an eighth dan or something that's teaching, when they get hold of you or contact with you or they call you up when you're practicing them, what's the kind of overriding, again it's one of those questions that's quite open-ended, you've all probably got opinions on it and they're all right with the particular answer I'm looking for. What's the overriding quality that somebody that effectively is better at Aikido than you, what do they have over you? When you have that contact, when you touch them, when you hit them, when you grab them, when you're being thrown, what's the feeling that you have that they have that you don't have?
The initiative?
Control. Yeah, control. Initiatives are right, but the one I was thinking was control, and that's why are they controlled?
Because they're balanced and you'll never...
Exactly. That's all it is. Why is a powerful attack really rather powerful? How can somebody hit you with such a force that you're going to get knocked over by it? It just comes down to balance and the core strength they've got. But when they hit you, they're not doing this. They're not falling off balance. Every point of contact they have with you, whether it's a strike that they're going to hit you with, whether it's the closing action, the tension nage, whether it's the grabbing action, whether it's the two-hand grab, whatever they do, the reason why it appears to be far more powerful is because at the point of contact, they're more stable. They can't have any of that strength or stability, any of that power in their attack if they're unstable. Go up to they'll probably still manage to do it. Go up to an eighth dan, ask them to stand on one foot and lean over and then try and hit you. Guarantee it won't be as hard as if they're standing in this position. And that's really one of the fundamentals of Aikido, a very basic thing. It's the same as Suwari waza. Who admits that when you learn Suwari waza, if it's your first time doing it today or you've been doing it for 10 years, who admits it's still a little bit clunky as you move around? This is very difficult to move smoothly, to understand how to stand up, how to lower your weight, so that at any point throughout your movement, even if you're here, you're still just as stable in this position as you are in this position. It's trying to keep the core stability through every movement that you can do, whether it's standing up or Suwari waza. Okay? And that's ultimately one of the things we're trying to work on. What Suwari waza does is it very quickly teaches you that you don't realise you're learning it. Every time you move in the Suwari waza, every time you're trying to create a contact with somebody else, you're increasing your core stability. The reason why I say that is, if you stand up, we're going to do a remote. Show me, sorry. Here, if I start to fall, I can do that quite quickly and stop myself. Understand? Up here you can cheat. You don't have a great core strength, let's say, but it's easy to adapt. So when he attacks, I can just move quickly and now I'm stable again. To the untrained eye, you wouldn't even know there's been a movement. Effectively, you sort of go, I've adapted. My back foot moved an inch from where it was to here, to become stable. So Suwari waza practice, you can trick yourself into thinking you're quite good at Aikido. But what you don't know is actually you're constantly doing this all the time, readjusting it and making yourself appear to be better than you are. Somebody who's very good, when he attacks, it should be, boom. At this point, there's no other movement whatsoever. At the point that they land, they've already won. They're that stable, and they've got the timing right, so his foot isn't even on the ground. So when they attack, they're already going to be falling over. They never get to the position where they're going to be stable. Okay, you can't let them do that, because otherwise you'll lose. So you have to make sure your stability beats theirs to the point of contact. Okay? Quite an advanced concept, I think. We'll work on it this afternoon. So, coming back to here. When I move, it's now far more difficult to adjust Suwari waza if you're going to fall over. Now, really slow, show me the chin. If I'm here and the weight's pushing me over, it's very difficult to do that on tap, be able to move. But now, okay, I've done it, and I'm not in a good position. I'll stop myself falling over, but he's now still on balance. So, effectively, it's over already. You don't have to carry on. Again, if I get it wrong, I have to try and adjust. When I do fall over, I can readjust, but they're already on balance. So, Suwari waza doesn't allow you the opportunity to adjust. Therefore, when you practice Suwari waza, you have to get it right far quicker, and when you get it right, and then you convert to standing up, you already have it, you don't need to worry about it. So what we're going to try to do, Shomen uchi just because it's a bit easier and a bit harder than here, there's no real threat to take balance. Okay, again, good attack. Not really going to, I'm too low already to be able to be pulled offline. Shomen uchi, however,
Quite easy for him to win.
so it's a test. Shomen uchi, I have to be in a position where my stability is already fixed, already happy, so that I can move to take the balance. Okay? Quite difficult. And all the way through, you shouldn't be one way, the other way. I move. Here I'm stable. My weight is already ahead of yours. Agreed? I'm coming down on you as opposed to you coming down on me. But I don't want to continue coming down on you and finish the technique. I now want to just change the direction that I fall in order to allow you in the direction that you want to move. And look at this position. He's on the floor on his ass. It doesn't even look like a move. All I've done is just move out of the way. I haven't lost the balance. I'm not doing this. Not wobbling over this way as he comes up. Again, the stability throughout the technique. I haven't wobbled, I've just fixed. And if I want to finish with a good pin on that business, it's no problem because I'm already in the right place. Because the core structure understands what it's trying to do. I think, it's my opinion, yeah? So you've got to make sure that every position you move in is one step ahead of the other, and in such a way that you're always going to maintain control without wobbling throughout the session. Yeah? Right, challenge partners, I'm going to do Suwari waza as a teacher. It's a very, very clear way of indicating what people have done. Okay? And a couple of questions that we had is, I'll use a particular example. Tim and Colin. Tim was moving in such a way that he was questioning where he should be as an uchi. He was questioning the positions of his Ukemi. Now, where I suppose fundamentally is the problem with asking that question. It's not criticism of Tim, it's criticism of Colin. Okay? If somebody is asking where they should be, it means that sorry, you're not putting them in the right place. There shouldn't be a question of where you should be if the technique is done right. Ukemi is a reaction. You know, somebody does a technique and your body reacts to how it's been done. If we're just going to do the Tachi Kokyu nage, he doesn't say in mid-air, where should I be at this point? It's clear where we should be, trying to fall over correctly. Okay? And that's a stupid example, but it's exactly the same as what you asked. You asked, where should I be at this point? Well, if the technique's done right, you've got no option as to where you're going to be, because the Tori has put you exactly where they want you to be, and you don't have a question about it. So back to our handy Katate, I'm going to do Irimi just as we were doing just now, but there shouldn't be a question coming from any of us where he needs to be throughout the technique. Because the technique is done in such a way that I'm moving him to where I want him to be. There shouldn't be the idea of, and I use Colin as an example, or exaggerate. Now Amos has the right to go, what do I do when I'm over here? Where do I put myself relative to the other? And that's what you were asking. Where should you be relative? If you've done the technique right, you wouldn't be over there in the first place. Very slowly. Fifth cue, I have naked dori. What do we teach? Contact. Very basic if you like, because we used to do that. And we used to say chest on shoulders. Now, whatever way I move, whether it's going to be this way or this way, doesn't make any difference as long as his chest sticks to my shoulders. So for the purpose of illustration, I'm letting him know I'm going to move my right foot. I'm going to go in this direction. Now, if I keep his shoulder on my chest and I move, he knows where he's going to be because that's where I've put him. The more advanced we get, this becomes a bit different. It starts here, contact, move, no problem. Okay. Then if we were to treat it as a technique, I had it very basic. And so long as I forgot. It was this. Okay, it was how I wanted it. Then I thought, oh, maybe I could learn to keep this one here, just touching, and still do this. So it's exactly the same position, but this hand is just staying here instead. Because what I want to do is I want to lead his hand down and his shoulder and everything else at the same time. So his shoulders stick to my chest, or I cause them to stick to my chest, and I move. And there you go, you create your own. What we've got to be careful of is as you progress and get more confident and quicker, you don't lose the fundamentals that we learned 10, 20 years ago when you did it as a basic. or 2 years ago, or last week, whenever it was. You've got to make sure that you keep the fundamental basics of understanding the concepts and the movement. Okay, which is why they're taught, I haven't even taught 5Q, not because it's a basic, it's because it's like fundamental that you have in every other technique, in every other grading as you go forward. If you don't understand the 5Q version, you can't do the first Q version. You can't do, what's one of the more complex ones? Ishiro Katate Irimi. Okay, you can't really understand. I can't do it. Okay, you can't understand that if you don't understand this fundamental. Because this fundamental is just what's being recreated. So when there is attack, so I'm trying to adopt this same position as a living Ikkyo. I'm trying to get back to the same thing. Now, if I don't get back to that 5Q and I build it up, I lose a Irimi. Okay? So if you wanted to do a very, very slow, advanced version, it's just the same quality and contact that a 5Q technique would have. It's no different from this. Agreed? Yeah? So that's the basics. I have Ikkyo, dori, nage. But understanding the full movement without any issues, without where should I be, how do I fall, how do I do this, that and the other. There are some principles for fight attack. This way around, so I'm going that way. To fall, I'm not just going to do this. Okay, you have to understand how to fall. But we've all done that. Front foot follows 2 hands, back leg, come up, backwards break 40 for Okay, so you've got to understand obviously that part, but I'm not going to teach that today. I think people have done that before. If you haven't done it before, the partner that you're with will tell you how to do it. Okay? But all that movement for doing the break fall becomes very clear if you're thrown in the right way. If you're thrown in the wrong way, you're not going to do the break fall that is required for a Irimi. If you're thrown and moved in the correct way, the reason why they do that kind of break fall is it's the easiest and clearest way of moving. It's not someone that's just made up a really awkward, complicated way of moving. It's because it's the easiest to move in the direction and the force that's applied to you throughout that technique. Just like a break fall. Yeah? Aikido, 10 points. Start Irimi nage, but don't necessarily finish it. Hands up to the first person that sees a mistake. Kind of. Yeah, I didn't keep contact, neither did he, but the reason for not keeping contact is... Yeah, exactly, walk straight through it. What you're doing is you're preparing to do Irimi nage. Okay, and the tori prepares for Irimi nage because they're the one doing the technique. The uchi doesn't. The uchi concentrates on whacking the other's head. Okay? If you're going to whack somebody's head, you don't do this. Okay, if you whack somebody's head, aim to hit them on the head. So what about that? So we don't go that way. This is not the kind of This is what I'm after. I'm not after doing this. He's going to do a Irimi nage, so I'm going to start preparing the break ball and step into the movement. Because you lose the principle of the attack, and now I'm in a shit position to start doing the rest of the technique. Okay? I've got it wrong already. He wouldn't, if I'm here, he's just going to leave me in the nuts and hit me. He's not going to do it Irimi nage. Okay? It's quite a common problem that people start to... They anticipate the movement, they anticipate what's going to happen, they anticipate the Irimi nage coming. Yes, it's controlled, it's in a dojo, you all know each other, it's all friendly. Yes, I'm going to attack, you do Irimi nage, and I know Irimi nage is coming, so maybe I'll start moving in the direction of Irimi nage. But what if he doesn't do Irimi nage? What if I move to start a Irimi nage breakfall, he changes his mind? I'm going to end up on my ass, not in the right position, because I thought we were going to do something else. Ukis aren't allowed to think, okay? Your only thing, your job, is to hit them, or grab them, okay? Or kick them. Stage where if I want to kick, the idea is I'm going to kick him in the face. I'm not going to start kicking and then prepare for a break fall. Because halfway through that break fall, he might change his mind and do something else. So I'm falling away for no reason. So whilst I don't want to encourage, extreme violence and death or anything, that's really what we're practicing. When I attack, the idea is to hit. So when he does the technique, I'm going to do it slowly, but I use intention. When he does the technique, I move because I'm told to move in that direction. I'm not moving because I expect to move in that direction. There's a difference. You move where you're told to, not where you expect to. That clear? Yeah, quite important. Otherwise, the tori can't practice Irimi nage because the uchi's in the wrong position. But it's not a fault of the tori, it's just that they're trying to do. Again, you've got to be careful how you teach this. Some people will say, oh, you should be able to do whatever. No, I disagree. If he attacks and he moves in a different way, his shoulder's now over here. I wanted it to be here to do a Irimi nage. It's over there. Would I then think, well, I'm still going to try and get it? I'd reach over, pull him back, and then do a Irimi nage. Would I step through and try and change the direction? Maybe. Okay. Or would I just choose to do a technique that was far easier? Okay. Remember this, martial art, and yes, we practice kata. Okay. It's just like karate. If you're doing kata in karate, it's a solo action apart from by yourself. In Aikido, this is kata. It's just paired with somebody else. I could do a Irimi nage by myself. I could do the Ukemi for Irimi nage by myself. Albeit slightly stupid. You could do it like that, but we don't. We practice together. That's kata. Waza practice, as it's known, W-A-Z-A, is the practical application. It's practical practice. Practical practice is when you do what is right in a fight, effectively. You're making it more practical. Very slowly. If Amos attacks, steps forward, preparing for something else, I'll do something else. You have to understand that. You have to understand that if you're doing kata, you practice it as a kata. If you're doing waza practice, expect the tori to do anything to you. Okay, they might do it, they might knee in the stomach. It could be. Okay? If you do Shomen uchi jio, so he's going to attack, and I can do any technique I want to do. Okay, very slowly. I'm going to do a Irimi for the sake of it. Now, if he moves, step forward, and stop that. I can't do a Irimi, but I could quite happily do another technique. But if he's thinking of a Irimi nage and preparing for that, he won't be prepared for the technique I'm going to do, and he'll end up taking an awkward break fall and possibly getting hurt. Okay? Remember, the Ukemi reacts to a technique, they don't plan it. Clear enough, I think. Yeah? Hey, carry on. It's not the most vigorous of practice, but that practice is what I want to see throughout the class, because it's clear and slow but accurate. Each time we're doing it, we get it right. Okay, and that's the main thing. I mean, yes, you can say the pressure foot needs to be there, and you don't bend your back quite so much. It's not a huge issue. It's the aptitude for practice which showed up the best in the demonstration. Both of you are wanting to try to do what has been taught. You're basically trying to do Aikido, and you're practicing in the right attitude and aptitude and enthusiasm. Not so enthused that you're and injuring each other. It looks like kata, remember, and those of you who have done karate, kata is not winning or losing, it is doing some techniques. And what you guys were showing was a way of helping one another learn. You were being correct, but with enough intention that John couldn't get away with it if he didn't do it properly. So therefore you forced him to do it properly. Yeah? And that's the key thing. By working together, you two have probably increased yourself, your own level, in that small amount of practice, than perhaps 10 other classes, because you have the right style of practice to help one another. This is what we're going to come on to again this afternoon. I keep alluding to this afternoon, but this afternoon is going to be one of fundamental things is that how to get good at Aikido? How do you increase? How do you get better? Do you just turn up? You just do it twice a week, 10 times a week? Why is it that someone has done 6 times a week for 20 years and not got as good as somebody who's been doing it for 5 years, twice a year? Twice a week. You know? It does happen. You get all these people, we know a few, not in this club, but we know people that train under the best of teachers for the longest amount of time, and whilst they're good, they're possibly not as good as you expect them to be for the amount of time. Why not? Why they've done more time? Therefore, the answer cannot be more time. Okay, and what I'm trying to do is also allude to the fact that just because you practice a lot doesn't mean you're really good. Okay, it's how you practice. How do you practice in the time that you've got? If you've got 2 hours a week, how can you get the most out of that? And it comes all down to things that we said before. You know, you leave your problems outside the dojo and you come in and you just concentrate on Aikido for 2 hours. That's all you ask for in a lesson, is the teacher wants. It's very difficult, I'm not saying it's easy. You might have a bad day at work, you might be going through a divorce, you might be going through family hardship. It's very difficult to concentrate for that 2 hours of time. And I'm not saying you can do it all the time, but the more time you spend doing Aikido, whilst you're doing Aikido, the more time you spend doing Aikido. And it is very difficult. And that is the practice that you have, you can adopt that kind of practice, is what will help everyone increase quicker. The way you practice with people. It's not a competition. Remember, it's the only time I'd say perhaps competition comes in is Jiu-Jitsu, but even then it's not really a competition. If I want to practice, me personally, I want to practice Aikido. And we do every minute, same thing. Do I want to go now I'm going to practice my throwing. It's all about me, okay? There's a perfect example. I'm not getting anything from it. I wasted 3 or 4 seconds trying to get him off the ground, and I couldn't have done a technique in that time. Okay, I wasted that time because I was too aggressive and working by myself in the first instance. I was thinking, I'm going to try and do the best I can do here, the best cut, the most power. But because it abuses the other and they're not ready, I waste time. I want to practice. The best practice you can learn is a practice where you're learning and working with the other. I make mistakes, I don't know, I'm learning with the other. It's not just a case of me doing what I want to do. Oh, it turns me doing it later. Maybe I'm trying to learn with him, but he's going to practice on his Ukemi, and he's going to practice getting back up so he can hit. I'll never learn. He's getting on alright, he's learning his Ukemi, great, well done. But there's nothing for me in it. Because there's nothing for me, ultimately there's nothing for him. Because he's now not learning how to be thrown and how to detect finishes and stuff. So in a roundabout way, what I'm trying to say is there 2 people when you work. Every time you practice with somebody, you're working with them, for yourself and for the other. Okay? It's not just learning because that's learning. No. I learn how to work with the other. So I can control them, allowing them to feel the technique, absorb the technique, work out their breakfalls, blah, blah, blah. Try to catch me out because I've done it a bit wrong, and he's strong enough to resist. And do something back to, we're working together in harmony as opposed to me doing something and then him doing something. So, moving on. Irimi, slowly. Now, what we're trying to talk about is good Ukemi. At this point, I want him to do the technique back to me. Okay, and we're going to work on that. We're going to allow him to get upright, and changes, and he'll do the technique back to me. Okay? Why are we doing this? It's because I want each of you to understand that if you can get back up, you can reverse the technique quite easily. Things like, carry on, you with me? Seen before, I was isn't it? This is all seen before. All know what it is. Right, I can do this. What if I learn to use the momentum that he puts into it so I can do it back on him? Slowly, just from this part. Really slowly. As his other hand comes on top, he puts gaeshi in. What if I use that hand to take? So I do it back on instead. Okay? Why can I do that? Because I'm moving correctly so that my balance is in a good position so I can move, staying stable, and finish in the technique off, just like everything else we've said today. Okay? If my balance and posture is all crap, I'm not going to get anything. So, Irimi nage. You attack, I do it, and you throw me back. There we go. Gotcha. Wow. Okay, change partners. What I want to try to do is work up to the end of the class when, at the moment, allow them to do it back to you. At the end of the class, it's anyone's going. If someone does it first, then they will. Okay? Aikido, change partners. How important is it? Where the arm is? Let's say I've gone down to here. How important is it to get my arm? The first thing that happens is this normally. You just imagine you're going to try. This arm gets trapped here because that's how you're going to turn up. People go, right, how do I free this arm up to do it? Well, the first thing is obviously not to get to this position. If you can get up before they take control, even if it's here, I'm still strong, and it prevents them doing the technique. Then you think, well, how do I get that? How do I get that to here? What are you all missing? That's the point. That whispers in my ear. Aikido is not the arm, it's not this. When have we ever taught that you stand perfectly straight when you're like that? It doesn't work. The point is the balance. I don't really need any arms or anything. I exaggerate, but the point being, it's a good up, a little bit of a stance and be strong. I'll do the same. Try the technique. Okay, right, try the technique. The technique shouldn't take that long. The technique comes instantaneous. Okay, if you're doing this, you've already lost. Don't remember, this is Katate. In waza practice, as soon as I do that, he's hitting already. Okay, it's instant, which needs to work instantly. Okay, that's what we're up in balance. So very slowly now, I attack. Why is it easy to do when you don't have the arm up? Because when I come up, I'm already planning. His balance is going. Yeah? Shomen. Strong posture. Change feet. Strong, yeah, that's it. Right. People who are Aikido programs doing well. Why did it work? Yeah, because he has those balance. He's already here. And everything's very easy. You don't get to that position. Which is why fundamentally, I have an accessory nage. We've said before, it doesn't finish here. And then you start again. Even if he takes a big throw, it's not the other hand takes it up. Watch this hand. It never got to this position. Slowly. Let's do it this way. He never got to the position where it allowed him to be stable and strong. And then it wasn't 2 steps. It was 1 step. This hand, without me, does that. There's no stop. Okay, that's it. That's the only reason why it works. Is because by the time you try to throw him, he's already here. There is no position up here. Katate dori. Tension nage. Why does tension nage work? Fundamentals of teaching. This first, and then you do this. If I don't get that balance first, and I see it was on, I'm not working. I can't. Must need to be stronger. I just there you go. I'm doing Aikido. That's Aikido. Why does he fall and why does he go? Because I don't allow him to stand up. So from the point of contact, I don't allow him to stand up. Even if it's like having Katate dori shiatake. I don't allow him to stand up. Tension nage, I don't allow him to stand up. Having Katate dori Irimi nage, I don't allow him to stand up. Ikkyo and as well. I never allow him to. So, to conclude, before we move on to this afternoon, if he gets there, I can't do the technique. So how does he get to there? And that's this afternoon. Right, we'll finish now. What we're going to do this afternoon is a continuation from this morning, in the sense that this morning was some principles and some basics, and this afternoon with a little bit more room and predominantly we start slightly more advanced class. We can have a little chat about what we're going to develop on. We're going to start with 2.5 hours. We'll do the first hour and 10 minutes, fundamentally working on principles of attacking to generate the attacks in order to be able to do the defensive. Aikido is all defensive and you badge up as you like, but at the end of the day you've still got to learn how to do a technique and someone's trying to punch you in the face. So what we're going to try to do is understand how to not only, we've spent many weeks, if you like, generating a core structure within yourself so that you can do a technique, but now it's time to learn how to do that technique when applied for a proper attack. And again, the principles of core structure apply to the attack as well. So what we're going to do is a bit of time on doing things like Yokomen, uchi, Shomen, developing those so that they've got a decent structure to it. And then, like we said this morning, if both of you are practicing at a level where you've got a high level understanding Tori and a high level understanding Uchi, so you're looking as attacking with a proper attack, quite hard, quite fast, it allows quicker progression from the Tori side of things because they're learning how to do it for a proper attack. But remember, even though we're teaching the attacks and the attacks are getting harder and stronger and faster, it's still only kata practice. We haven't got to waza practice yet. Waza practice is the second of this afternoon's classes, so that's going to be waza, a little bit more free form, freestyle if you like, but incorporate all the principles that we learned from this morning. Yeah? This idea, okay? As a Tori, I'm just going to stand here for now. First of all, he's going to get the foot first, and then he's going to aim to hit with the hand here. Front of the forehead with the soft part of the hand, this position. Okay? His foot's not too close, it's not too far away. He's structured so that when he strikes, he's not leaning forward. We haven't done it at an angle, so he's coming this way. It's a straight vertical attack from this position down on top of the other. Okay? Again. And again. And again. Okay, simple as that to start with. Because it's quite an advanced class, we're not going to go to, we won't go to complete basics. So what I'm going to do is just introduce the next step. When I attack, the two things I want you to think about. One is the intention of the attack. So it's not just to aim and touch the head. Okay. The idea is I'm going to drive everything from the core of my body. So instantly, I'm already not up here. Okay. To start with, I'm already down like that. Then, as I move, it's not this idea. I haven't got the centre. I find a weight with my front foot. I find the ground, and then as I land, I sort of effectively fire from my own head almost from this position onto the other. Okay. From this position up the centre to here. The intention, every time I attack, is not. Every time I attack, it's like I'm going to split his head. And it's only slightly, I'm not actually going to split his head. That's something I know. But up here is deadly serious. Okay, the reason I'm trying to get this idea across is I touched this morning on this afternoon being an opinion of, and I say this from a relatively careful point of view. I'll edit this out as a video so no one can hear it. I generally say Aikido shouldn't be people's opinions. Okay, that's what causes such fragmentation in Aikido. You know, there's one fellow that came up with it, And all these other people, all these thousands of federations and associates, all because they think they know better. Or they think, I thought it was this, I thought it was that. Oh no, it's definitely. It's going to happen. Unfortunately, Aikido is a man-made thing. You're not going to get people's interpretations sort of diversifying a little bit. But what I want to try to get across this afternoon is how I think, from experience that I've got, albeit very limited, how to get to where you want to be, perhaps, or how to progress. And this is just one of the ways. When I attack, when I attack, it's not just it's because every single second you're in here, you're practicing with the intention that you need to be and understand what you're doing. If you're teaching to attack somebody, that's what it is, including the size of it's an attack. It's not just to take the head, take the hand, grab it gently. Every attack you do, it's not. This is not just, there's varying different types, it's not just this. Okay, this is, you can't see, but this is the better than that. Okay, this is just very light touch, that's just quite a crap position, and just gripping my hand as tight as possible. It's still not a good attack either. You've got to understand an attack. Okay, this is kata practice, so it's just practice for the sake of practice. It's not practical. However, you've got to have that practical element and intention in what you're doing. So when I come into attack, I'm thinking, Jeff's dangerous, maybe he's got 2 knives, 1 knife, a sword, he's got every bottle, back, guns, machine gun. Every time I see him, I think he's a threat. So when I want to attack, I want to make sure that I understand fundamentally what I'm doing. Let's say there's a knife. So what am I going to do this? Okay, already I attack shit. Because I'm understanding this idea. If you don't think like that, you'll never very quickly get to grips with what you're doing. Don't think you're in a dojo with an empty-handed man who's your friend, who you've been practicing with for years, and he's not going to mind you coming from doing this. Think of it as, he does have a gun, it's a dark night, it's dangerous. We can't practice like that, and it's not dressed up like that. But up here, I'm thinking, when I attack, I'm going to understand what I'm doing. Okay, I'm focusing on the other. I understand I have control here with my hand, but I'm loosening my arm so that if he does make any kind of movement, I've got the ability to absorb. If this is a knife, it's away from my face, okay? If it's a sword coming out here, I've stepped off the line so that it's not coming, I haven't stepped in front of something like this, I've opened up the line a little bit so it passes by. From this position, I'm in a good position. Okay, if he tries to re-attack on the other hand, I can control from here, okay, because of the attack. You've got to imagine it is an attack, it's a control. He might want to try to kick with this leg. If I'm doing this here, by all means, you can go away with it. Here, he tries to kick, it's a bit more difficult. I can move and I can control it. And that's fundamentally everything you practice is how you're going to practice it. Think of it as doing what you're doing. Aikido doesn't have how to put it. Who's heard this? Sorry, if you just offer it something. Who's heard this? Sorry, just offer it on the side. Who's heard this before? Oh yeah, but I wouldn't attack like that. Yeah, you wouldn't, because this is a shit attack. If you do it properly, you maybe would attack like that. Yeah, but you see the difference. The reason why I think Aikido, certainly in the UK, gets criticised, I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it like that because the people that you're watching are crap. If you people that you're watching and know what they're doing, then maybe you think, maybe work about attacking like that. That kind of thing. I think that's fundamentally one of the problems across Aikido getting criticised, is because people aren't doing it right. It's criticised because what the criticizee is looking at is a poor version of it. So, that's that going. When I attack, I find the ground with my feet, find my weight. Okay, at the moment my weight's back here. I'm looking to where to land safely. As I land, my hand comes down, I combine my weight. Although my foot's on the ground, the weight is still on the back leg. I transfer forward to here, and this is how I strike. Keeping on the line, good position, good structure, not like this, not overstretched on one foot. The first thing you can see is we can do this, and then they adjust afterwards. The adjustment is done at the time of contact. Just like when I go to grab, it's not this idea. The point of contact is when I attack. And that's where everything has to be grounded. The structure, the hips, legs, shoulders, attitude, grip, flexibility, and the point of contact is where it all happens. Which is exactly the same as this morning's lesson, but we reversed it to the other way around. When Jeff was showing if I want to do Ikkyo or Irimi, the technique happens at that point of contact. It doesn't happen about here, and then this happens. It doesn't happen once you pass it, and then starts. The technique starts and finishes here. At this point, I create the action that I want to create. Okay? As Pascal says, you make the decision at the meeting. You don't make the decision before the meeting because it's never quite happened yet. If you make the decision after the meeting, the chances are you've lost. So at the meeting, I make the decision where I'm going to go. Okay, it's the same in the attack. At the meeting, I make the decision that this is where I'm going to attack. So the meeting, I make the decision here where I'm going to be. Understand? Yeah? Right, little fun partner. Okay, just a couple of criticisms. Not criticisms, corrections. Right. Where do we start? Fundamentally, make sure it's not this. Okay, there's something rocking with the attack. They can come up, they go back, and they come down again. Don't do that. The other thing is understand your reach and how to gain the biggest reach without overcompensating. You don't want to be doing this just for the sake of a reach, okay? Because it's still not going to be a good attack. You've got to understand where you as an individual, Jack and everyone, depending on your size, what your reach is. And there's two ways of finding the reach. Basically, come roughly toe to toe, and I say give or take a couple of inches, doesn't really matter, toe to toe. Right, and square on. Get so you can reach the other's head. Nice and up. Again, this shouldn't be locked out, it should be comfortably touching. Then, okay, first thing to extend my reach. Reason being is here you can reach me as well. Right, stay there. Quite nicely, right? Stay as you are. Never going to get there because he'll get there first. Okay? So how do I overcome getting past that length? There's a start, I turn my hips, that's all I've done. Okay, now if I extend with my weight. Okay, so now when I attack, the two things I want you to do is work on the turn of your hips and the extension of your legs with your weight. But again, the reason why I say use it with caution is I don't want people doing this idea, because you might, and I don't think you might get a good attack. You might, if you hold out your hand and whack it might be quite good. But you're going to end up there's another one. Difficult to react again. I need to be in a position where not only can I attack, but be able to attack again and again and still hit. So, open your hips, extend with your legs. Okay? Open your hips, extend with your legs. And then, rather than doing it this way, try to blend one with the other. Okay, so even here, I can get however long reach if I want to. So now when I attack slowly but with intention, okay, all the way from here, reach your hand out, nowhere near. Hips, legs. And I can quite easily break the skull, cheeks, neck, quite easily without him being able to stop. Get it? Keep saying, try again. When he attacks, okay. I'll leave and stop here. Right. This is where we're practicing for at the moment. But the next step in reality, his attack is not to hit here, it's to hit the inside of the middle of my chest. So it should be here. So when he finishes his Shomen attack, it should be about there. Okay, just like a sword cut. You don't aim to hit something on the head with the sword, you aim, here's the sword, to cut into the middle of the body. Hands exactly the same. It's to go here and into the middle of the body. Okay? Not to stop at the head, which is why you often get jab attacks stop at the head. People now struggle with techniques. They're like, well, gaeshi, how the hell does it get it up right? Because the attack's not right. The attack is to hit here, and they've stayed up there, and now they can't do the technique. However, if Jeff understands how to attack and he's trying to take the heart out through the head, now we can start moving on to the next bit. And only really, at that point, can you start doing the technique properly? And obviously, if you just taught the attacks for your first 6, 10, 20 weeks of Aikido, you get quite bored of it, you're never actually doing Aikido. But only now, after you've been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 10 years or whatever, do we actually understand this idea. That the attack is not just to touch, the attack is to drive all the way through. That's the momentum that I need to start creating Aikido. Up until that point, I can't really do it. It's forcing it. It's all right for overs and downs. There you go. It's all right. Not real. There's nothing real to it. So, in order to practice that, he's going to practice here and driving through here. If I stay in the right position, he's going to bop me on the head. So, very slowly. As he attacks, I want to move inside and just move around. So he can finish his full attack at full speed and aim to his hands in roughly where my stomach is, or maybe my chest kind of thing. And all I'm going to do is move off the line. This side. If you want to put your hand up for a contact, you can. That's it, that's all I'm after. And again, good hard solid attack, and again. Perfect. Now, at that level, we can start with Aikido. And that's what we do this afternoon. When the attack is like that, stable, balanced, going for the right position, right pace, it's when I need to start learning. Because now, if I try and do Aikido, it's difficult. Okay? So now, from then on, I need to understand how do I move around and how I need to put myself into a position. And it's a decent attack, it's hard. Having said that, when it's a decent attack, some techniques are pretty easy. But other ones are much harder. But now we start playing, and it's a high level of understanding. It's where we really want to be. Yeah? Right? One to the time like that. You've got the guts to hit him using the back hand. Slowly. Don't come in, this is a big problem in your hand. It's not this. Okay? And then try and do this. And then try and do this. Quite a big problem. Reason being is it's fundamentally the understanding of the attack. If you want to attack someone, I've got to be roughly in the same position as Connor did. So if he's going to attack, so you come and attack. Okay, well, right. That's about the distance that I need to be roughly in order to hit him back to the maximum effect. I don't want to move out of the way of this, and then from here I have no space and just kind of go, I don't want to do anything. So there you are. I really want to be here and doing this. And giving him a proper yoink and a chop. Okay? So how do I get to that position? Without getting hit by him slowly, I protect myself and I change my position. I change my feet. Very common move in Aikido, sword work especially. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I've done an exercise in sword work all the time. Cut up, around your head, cut down. Okay? In quite a lot of forms of karate and stuff, very similar. Start with one leg, archery, hips, all this way. Common attack. Okay, slowly. And bring into the centre, and now I open up opposite directions, and now put this over here. Okay, and it's where you gather your extra length from, if you like. Bring into the centre, and here, I can't really reach. The drawing back of my left leg creates the opening of the hip and the extension of the legs, just like we've been doing before. So now if I draw back with my leg, I create the extra length. So from this position, it now becomes this idea. Very slowly. All you're after. Remember, good attack, keep it true and right, perfect. There we go. So just try to go into my stomach and I move right at the last minute. I get the timing right, get my legs showing as he comes down. As his hand comes down, the left leg moves back. Then if I want, you can see exactly what happens next. I can hit the hand, I can control the arm. And finish this like this. One side, I come in, close down, and then come off. To begin with, slowly. Protect in case you get it wrong. Okay, to start with. Then open. Protect and open. Just for now. Okay, that's all we're doing. Hey, keep saying. Really good. I mean, all you've got to do is have a look around and all of a sudden it looks pretty sharp. It looks like a, it looks like a very high level martial art. Now when people are attacking, it looks, well, it means some business and I've got to worry about it. It means that individually, me personally, when Amos is attacking me, it's got to be pretty good. It's got to be sharp. If my balls are up, there's now no opportunity, because he's too good. Shouldn't try them. to play. What were we doing before? Slowly. Built my house. As I built my house, all the roof we can control on both sides. Good attack. Don't be afraid to offer various different bits of freedom in the attack. But again, that's a really high level. For practice purposes, he attacks slowly, I change, and I come down to the centre. At this point, I turn away behind. Side. Just to relax. So I turn, back foot, okay? Hey, change arms. And then move on to gaeshi, but before we get to that position, this is a high attack. Either very perfect. It's exactly that. I give so much in my attack that all she does is, and all it needs to be to control it. Okay? Very slowly. You tell them what you're doing. You tell them what you're doing. Okay. Where do you put your feet?
Forward. From the line.
Yeah.
Sink.
Where does this finish?
Where does it finish?
Yeah, when you control it, where are you putting it?
I just sink.
Yeah, where does this go? Inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay. Yeah, outside is this point, but I can't stand up. Okay, either attack. It's all on. Okay? Next time. If it's practice like this. You find it hard to do. Spend all day on in this position. Quite difficult, but it's quite natural. In the Eastern world, you must see if you've gone travelling around, they sit like this at the side of the road, not just at the side of the road, they sit like this generally. But you will see a lot of people, it's quite comfortable for them to sit like that. They poo like it, don't they? Okay. This is quite a natural position for them, all up into this position. It's quite difficult. Okay? Sit like this, so your bum is basically on your heels almost.
Right.
Yeah, it's difficult. And try not to fall over backwards. Feet flat on the ground. So heels are on the ground. Good. This is the kind of position that you effectively want to trick people that you're getting into. So when either attacks, I want my weight to feel as if I've come down to this level. It's not. It's not hit here and hope for the best and shove it in that direction. I feed the elbow all the way down. I don't think we need to practice that, I think we all know it. Thank you. I need to turn off, I can't see. What's that? Is it the doors that win it? Is it when Barrow reflects off the ground? People don't just lie on the floor like that. Right, what are we doing? Now, this is how you would finish them if you want to. Okay, you take it outside and you sink. Simple as that. However, we don't want to do that because if they fall over, you can't do the next part of the technique. If you're doing a grading, you don't want to say, look what I can do, sensei jury. Oh, well, you want to carry on to do sorry, not the idea. The idea is to control. Just enough. So they have no balance, and now I can choose what I want to do next. If I let him up, now it's back again, and it's back to square one. So I adopt control. Keeping this control, I now move for gaeshi. I turn. Now, we're going to do it slightly differently today, just because it's something that I thought about this week. When we move to this position, keep this where it is. Don't do any pulling, okay? Pulling encourages him to come round, which ultimately you do want him to do, but not until you want him to come round. If I go too early, he'll be on me before I've got a chance to do what I want to do. So we relax, and we'll talk through this really fast. I turn. This position. Relax here without giving anything away. I look at these doors. I turn with my toes and my hips, leaving this where it is to look in this position. Okay? Then, from here, legs and hips, this hand hits his back leg, his foot, if anything. Not exactly, but this idea. At that point is when I create a movement in the other. Okay? So you're really drawing. I face this way. I turn, relaxing my so the hand hasn't moved. Okay? Stay here. Then when I move into this position, towards the foot, I drop my hips, and now I start taking the hand round. So his body starts moving in this direction. Then I turn and put gaeshi on. So effectively I started from this position, I turn all the way around, I continue to move, and now I'm back where I came from again. Which is what creates a pretty good technique, because it's so sharp from one side to the other. It's not just a case of here and here, or even here and here. It's a case of all the way around and all the way down. Right, change partners. Same thing, I control from here. Then I just change it. Again, it's exactly the same as before. Nothing is possible until you have that kind of position. Okay, when he's beginning to teeter and fall over, you now have the freedom to change what I'm doing. But, here, nothing there. Effectively, all I'm really doing is extending that balance. When it comes in, I'm moving. Yeah. When you're playing around with one technique, if you like, whilst we have to teach the rhythm of consistency, up, down, up, down, 10 years. Up. You then have the freedom to play with it. You need to understand structure so as not to use it. If you didn't know that you knew it, you wouldn't understand when you're not using it. Okay, so you try to now play with it. So here I'm really reaching for a strike. Maybe I'm stepping back for the strike, with no intention of hitting whatsoever. But the action has always got to be the same on the other. Okay, regardless of where you do it from. Which is why you can create other techniques. So learn how to control. Now, if I let them back up, it's not too late again. So, what I do is I learn not to let them back up throughout the technique. What tends to happen for beginners is this. Okay, no problem. If you want to practice, imagine you've never seen it before, and arm up, step forward, place the elbow on the ground, no problem. The more advanced, you're creating a constant action downwards. Okay, make a little change now, just remember, it might not always be the first one. Don't think that it might not be the first attack, it might not be the first action. Don't always think that, right, because I've got him here, that means I'm easily going to be able to do the next bit. I think there's a conception of people thinking, right, I'll do this. Right, I've got that bit. I've fluffed it, I can't do it now, okay? The idea is you're in control. Think, right, I'm going to do it. I'm losing control. Hang on, I'll keep working. Let's have another. No. When is it? When am I going to be able to do it? You're in control, okay, as a Tori. Don't always think that it has to be separate. 1, 2, up and down. Because you're not going to get it right all the time. What you do have to understand is what you must get right is the control. If he comes back up and starts getting stronger, no, you come up and then you get up again. I decide when I need to do it, and it's because he's not in the right position to stop it. Just a 2-minute break. Hey. 2 minutes, there's water in the kitchen if you want it. Any questions on the first hour? Isn't that good? Mainly the thing in the first hour is just to remember that all we did is one technique basically, and it's the principle of a good attack. In order to do, when you're attacked with a good attack, you need to be a decent target, that's really what it comes down to. So, whilst this afternoon's lessons are, depends how you look at it, you can badge them up as being advanced, or you can badge them up as just being basic. I suppose all we're doing is basic principles of something that was categorised as being more advanced. We're doing strikes instead of grabs, so yeah, in theory it seems more advanced, but the principle's exactly the same from the grab or the attack. Okay, all we're going to do is just develop the attack to make sure that when you practice it, there's no point in practicing an advanced technique from an inexperienced attack. You can't do it, to be honest. The advanced techniques work from having a decent attack given to you in the first place. They don't really work otherwise. They become a bit forced, and it depends on your way of teaching. For this particular course, we're not going to force it. We're going to do the advanced technique because of the advanced attack allows it to work. In a regular class, you may teach it a bit differently. So the beginners that are teaching on Thursdays, if you want to teach advanced stuff, even though it's a beginner's lesson, you can go and show a glimpse of it. You can by all means do it from a broken down perspective, but make it clear in your own mind and in that when you're teaching that that's not actually how it can work. It's for demonstration purposes only. Oh, yeah, Jeff, please. Okay, first now. Amazing. Second now. So implies the same sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to stand over myself, he's going to hit roughly between sort of the jaw and the neck area. I don't really say it would be too specific, but somewhere around about this kind of area. I think maybe the jawline is quite a good idea, but as you wish. So, very slowly we go, I'm going to talk to you over there. He finds the floor with his foot just like we did at the beginning. He brings his arm around, aims for the jaw, comes down, opens his hip, and hits. And again, okay, to start with, just a couple of basics so that you can see. Good. Okay, now a bit more attention. I need to understand who's going to hit. I need to understand that if I don't move, if I don't move, sometimes we practice it before they hit so you know that you're going to get hit. Sometimes it's nice with pads so people can actually practice hitting something. That's the trouble with Aikido as well. You spend years and years trying to really hit anything. It's just fun to hit something. It's just fun to whack. Right, if you can get a pad, sometimes on Friday they borrow the pads at hits, and it is quite good to understand how to attack. So it's learning how to attack with your structure, not with your arm. You just hold your hand up. Just take your head. I'm going to generally look forcefully hit your shoulder. The idea being, obviously everyone's going to know that if I, but it's totally uncontrolled. The idea is just like Shomen is, I'm finding the ground, and then it's my weight. This is quite soft and relaxed. It's my weight hitting when I want to hit. And there's nothing else. It's not like a just like that. I find there it is. That's where I'm going to hit. And I try to hit with my structure. It looks like this. And believe me, there's a difference. Jeff will know. So, this idea, or open. My weight is now on my back leg. It doesn't look like it, but the front leg can come up. It looks like I'm bound up on the ground. There's no weight. Then when I transfer the weight to the front foot, at the point the weight lands, here, I should have hit. So at the point the weight lands, is where I hit. Okay? So you can demonstrate this, you have your hand here, weight back, weight forward. And that's it, just a little push. It's not this. I combine it. Then I put it into a strike. That's again. Not too much, but he needs to understand and feel that the attack is going through him, even though it's just a soft little nudge. It's not. And it's all driven from exactly this one. Soft, relaxed, legs, hips, arms relaxed. Oh. This idea. Then slowly, you hit them in the head. But this idea, when I strike, I do think just that. The intention is to be soft, and at this point, I hit them on the head. With everything I've got. I relax. This point. Okay, it should be to drive all the way through. So slowly we practice. This idea. Open, off the line, stretch, hips, legs. Exactly the same as before. Nothing different, only instead of here, it now comes up the middle, and then comes off to the side. Okay? Not this idea. It's no problem with doing this for practice sake and for show. Here it comes, here it comes, ready for technique. No problem. In reality, at the centre, and then it comes to the side. Alright? That's it for now. Hey! It's only time. No, I'm not going to hit it. Just okay, we've encouraged in the past moving the back foot offline to avoid effectively an attack. What we do at the moment? Not far offline. If he has yeah, sort of. Don't worry about it. Okay, so do a Shomen with a sword. It's all I'm after. I'm after the blade to just pass me. Here's the blade. Just past me. If I'd have stayed there, yes, my hips might have moved, it would have caught my back hip and possibly taken my leg up. Okay, the idea is just to move, and this foot just moves out of the way by a matter of inches. Okay, so when he attacks with his sword, my action is just to come inside and attack and just miss his sword. Okay, it's not to go over here. Okay, I've turned around too much. Some people, maybe it's leaving it a bit elaborate, and you have to know from the early years, if I do uchi and you enter as a good Shomen, you spread up the way. All this kind of stuff. Yeah, quite common, and we practiced it, and it's good for flexibility and movement for over years. You want to be in a position where you've just recreated another good attack. Okay? To start with, yeah, play with the balance and feel what you're doing. But I think what I'm finding now is I attack. Colin, I'm going to use you as an example because we did this a few weeks ago and we all laughed at you, so we'll do it again. Right, Colin did this. It's like Melon dancing and jumping around. It's kind of like, here we go. Okay? But all of a sudden, this is where I'm facing now. This is where I should be fighting, not over here. I want to be off the line, avoiding an attack, and be in a good position to be able to strike again. Okay, that's what it is. So, now, when Jeff attacks, just off the line. Again. Just off the line. That's it. Right, next step. We're going to do 3 ways of the same thing. Historically, modern and future. Okay, right. Historically, we meet with the same. This. Return, come down. It's all right. I used to think it was away until I was showing it all that. It's not good enough against the other. Okay? Reason being is effectively what it looks like is you're both hitting at the same time. Okay? The idea being is I'm supposed to be very slightly inside. This is the dangerous part of his attack. I'm supposed to be inside out, so if it comes down, it actually misses. Then this is nothing more than just a contact. It's not a block, I don't think it's this. It's a contact as I move past. And as he moves forward, I hit him with the other hand. And he moves around to avoid the hit. It's not wrong, but I think it's quite basic. Okay, so it's not for this afternoon. It's alright. Second way. This hand treats it like boxing, good attack. Okay, this is a new way. Same thing, it stops all of this before it even started. It's not meeting it at the same time and clashing with this, because if Jeff has a good attack, he'll be stronger than mine. I'm going to lose. Good attack. I don't allow his attack to become good. The principle remains the same. I move inside the hand because the hand is what's going to hit. It's the hardest part. So I want to move past the hand and affect the centre. Okay? And that will do you, right? In reality, there's a point to that. The point being is the attack is not this. Just like we were saying this morning, it's not this, it's not this. If you want to go back to traditional Yokomen uchi, if you like, rather than coming up with a punch from the centre, you could do this. It has the same effect. But what I was told by somebody that was better than me is it's inside and a good attack. Here, they have nothing left, there's no control. So now when I turn, it's very easy to get to this position. And now, because they're in this position, it's very easy to get to anything else you want. Just like we said all morning today, if you went out to this morning's class, why can you do techniques? Because they don't come in balance. So we get to the point where we don't do it off. And that again comes back to the fundamental principles. Then we link the fundamental principles to a technique. And here it doesn't require strength or point, it's just cutting, relaxing. And here I can do whatever. So, slowly. Directly step inside. Protect inside. And just one extra if you like for more advanced. This becomes a new axis point. Okay? If you haven't heard of axis before, axis effectively, I'm an axis, Jeff's an axis. The spine, if you like, you can think of it as an axis point. And the two move together, and then they're going to move around. But we need a point of reference to move around. Or I need one to move around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one here. Now, rather than cutting or pushing, I'm going to move around like. And that's it. Okay? I don't like, it's not necessarily wrong, I don't like this idea. Some people will feel that they push the arm around the other side. They feel this might be good, and then here they feel that they have to cut the arm out to bring it around. In reality, I'm moving around the arm. That's all I need to do. So if Jeff has a good attack, they create an action around it. And he misses it. But to sharpen it up. And this position is just the same as this at the beginning, the other way around. So have a go. One, look at the position. Okay, it's not just around massive body, he is quite tall, but it's not just because he's tall, it's because I'm short of my legs. It's not this. Underneath. I create a new axis with this arm to create a loss of balance. At this point, we can stop that now, okay? Hey, problem. What I'm seeing now is not wrong, because I've just told you to do it, but looking at it, it makes me think, oh, totally wrong. When he attacks, I'm now seeing this. There's a clear cause, there's a clear sort of right, I'm hitting the chops. In reality, yes, I taught you to go for the face and treat it more realistic than a Yokomen uchi, but if I can show them in the most advanced way I know of doing it, I suppose, is doing exactly that, but I won't even use my arm to hit him with. I didn't really want to say that because now you know what to do it, but the intention is when he attacks, you have the same ability that is done with this. See his body movement, this idea. I need to get that same reaction, but without the attack. So, good attack. It's the same position as if I'd have done this. And it's the intention, there's two things. There's one, the understanding that the uchi is obviously at a fairly good level, and what I say by that is, not specifically Jeff, it's anyone that moves like that is of a good level. There's the common sense that they feel very slowly when they attack, that when this opens up, it opens up his body, and he can feel, as I move, there is every chance that hiding behind this leg is that hand. So he moves in accordance of the common sense that if he could just open up his arm and do this, and do that. But then I really well hit him, because he presents it to me. Effectively, I'm like that. I'm curled up in this position, and he's going to come and hit me here. And as he comes in, I'm going to go like that, and come open and be really big. He doesn't know that, see how small, as he comes into the attack. you end up making yourself far bigger by creating this opportunity. It's like a big, I don't want a massive hand. Other side. You want to create this intention to get the other moving, but without actually doing it. So now I've introduced something. Now I've introduced this. People are now concentrating on that. Right. Oh, okay, it's not the idea. The idea is to do that to get the other to move. And then you don't need it at all. Okay? So, I'm jumping up a few steps. I attack. Jeff's going to do exactly that. Don't worry about the Atemi hand, just worry about the first hand. What he's going to do is open the body up and move off the line. So we'll do this. This idea. It's on the inside of the arm, it's not over the top, it's here. He's opened with his hips and with the power of his leg, he's opened to this position, keeping me open. Now, the Atemi's good if he wants to do it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, the key, if you like, to start with, we've been teaching Tori. Now we're teaching the uchi side of things. So as I attack, I can't just do this. Good technique again. Okay, it's not the idea either. This is where it gets difficult. Going back to all this business. We were talking about finding the ground, putting your weight forward, and then really when all of the weight comes down onto that point, is when you strike. Yeah? I'm going to change that a little bit. I exaggerate, but I'll change. Now, before this hits the ground, all the weight is here. I've got a big fat hand, right? And as I come forward, that's where the weight of the attack happens. Why? So when he moves, my leg doesn't commit to the ground. If he moves and opens me up and my weight's already on the floor, I can't move again without falling over because all of my weight has landed here. I've walked straight into that fist. So now I've got to have the ability that as he opens me up, a good attack, I move my leg with it. And I slow that right down. What's really happening is this really slowly. Oh, hello. He's telling me to move my leg. My leg never lands. The weight is in my hand. He moves the weight, so he moves my leg. So even if I give it a fair old clonk, I'm still in the tension. We'll move on to this in a minute. But now, here Jeff should feel that this hasn't just given up. I'm still trying to hit him in the head. And I'm still stable, and I'm still in a good position, even after we've done the tech, or even after we've started. Clear enough? Right, change mark. Right, particularly super, but again, very difficult. I'll admit. I mean, I think the hardest thing is the beginning bit when you get this idea down doesn't work too bad. It's not too bad. Again, remember, I'm not up here, not this idea and stuff. Able to move again. Okay. Now, this is where the advanced stuff comes in. If you like, it's trying to gain the control of that. I don't want to move in with such a force that bang, I hit here and I take him to the ground. I want to be able to do another technique. All we're going to do is Ikkyo, but I want to be able to create the position that Ikkyo is possible to do. Not from my point of view, but from their point of view. That's the hardest thing, is to create the option that here, I haven't destroyed yet. If I take my hand away, it'll hit me in the face. And it's that taking of his action I still want to look after. Okay? So when I'm back here, if I take it down here, he's going to give up. He's not going to hit me in the face with that hand anymore. I'll try and use this one, or he'll just fall over and back off. I need to get it to a position where you can still supply the tension to hit, but not so much so that he's going to win, because now I can't stop the tension. So it's in the right place for a window of opportunity. He still thinks he can hit. Now, just like the contact this morning, I don't do this. Okay, I can't change one to the other. This is the other thing, nor do I do this. I don't reach over to do this, because now he sees that, and he can see Ikkyo and all sorts. It's very difficult. I combine my leg with here, and reach the limit, and I come back again. So now when he hits, boing, okay, up, go to the face. Very good. Perfect, that's what we're after. Good, right. Now we've got something to work with. He's trying to knock my block off once and then he's going to try and do it again. Just give up. Okay. This idea. Now, when his hand comes back towards my face, I'll just change hands. So, Jeff would like to hit me on the head. It's coming towards my head, but I just put the other hand in the way. Okay? One, two, to create this gap. From the top. John, use another 10 minutes on this. We've raced through it from the opening to Ikkyo fairly quickly. All I'm trying to concentrate on is the key areas I can see. One of them being that now people are not using the fact that it's coming towards the face. So slowly, when Jeff attacks, we open up. Remember, at this point, you've still got to have the tension. If I release that tension, it's going to hit me in the head. Okay, some people are now a little bit struggling. They're trying to stop him from coming forward. And as it comes in, they're kind of like, right, I've got to get the exchange, now I can exchange. And then here's quite difficult, because they've effectively stopped that forward action. It should be soft, soft. It should change from one to the other. Open, sorry, open, open. I open. It's quite difficult, but think about it. The other thing is, I think that some people are actually trying to stop it from hitting their heads, and they're trying to do this. Come towards the face. They're trying to keep it away from them, and it breaks them, and there's nothing left in it. It should be like windscreen wipers. That's it. Okay? It should be, in reality, 1, 2, and it's finished. Okay, there shouldn't be a pause, there shouldn't be a stop, there should be just that enough. The next thing, slowly, real slowly. Same theory. And now we try to go with the action. We go to the head, take it away. Slowly. Head. Perfect. There we go. Right. You know what you're trying to do when you take someone so that he's going to hit. They don't do anything, he hits. If I... There, then he comes back to hit. You just want to make it... Whoop, that action. You just want to pause it. Perfect. Why do I want to pause it? It's stupidly exaggerated, but really slowly. I pause it, so I'm going underneath. By the time he opens up and comes back, he's passed over, and that's when I'm going to take it. So, it's like this. But the hardest thing is not my technique, I mean it's impossible, but it's not my technique. It's keeping the reality of that he can hit me. If I do this, he can't, he's going to give up the hit. If I do this, he's going to stop hitting. It's just got to be enough. Very difficult. Oh, it's quite new for me. Not too much, you know. He's going to give up, there's nothing left anymore. So I've just got to play with it, just got to give him a little bit. I need him to think that he can still hit me. My God, is it hard? Difficult, yeah? One of the hardest things I can think of doing. It's combining everything. It's combining all the basics of this. It's even combining the basics with the everyday turn. It's got all of that in that. And that's it, that's all it needs to be. And very difficult to finish. English please, category. Just a bit of a chop around, but with this idea of, like we've said before, the basics. Stretch, stretch, stretch. I want all of that action. I want all of what I've learned in the last 13 years. I want everything to be in. Everything to be in the point of reaction. Everything. I close down. All of the weight and the knowledge I have goes into a single point. It can be soft. Okay. All of that understanding has got to be understood where to come out and what time. Aikido, the 10 partner system. All done. Okay? Easy enough? Very hard. Very, very hard. Just, this afternoon was high level, but it was supposed to be. The thing to take away is the practice of Aikido is two people, it's not one. Okay, it's not you as a teacher, as a master, as a fifth key. It's my class. I'm going to do this. I've come to practice this. You've come to practice Aikido, and you've come to practice whatever the teacher happens to be shown that day. Okay, and you practice that with the person you're with, and you both practice in such a way that you develop one another. It's not a selfish standalone practice. So when you're doing your Ukemi work, you're trying to help the other, as well as developing yourself. And how do you help the other? By developing yourself. Okay, so when you attack, you give a proper grip, a proper attack. Controlled, that's the other thing. I mean, we're not here to belt them, but there's got to be something there for them to use. And the better you can be with them, the better they become. And then I don't really need to be here anymore, you just teach yourself. You know? That's the ultimate goal, I just retire and you can do it yourself. No, but I really strongly believe that really a teacher of Aikido is only really guiding the students along the way. They're not really there to say this is how it's done, this is how it's... Aikido is always going to be better than the person that's doing it. And as long as they're aware of that, and the students are aware of that, then all you're doing is all trying to work together to get to the same place. I think that's the fundamental of what we've done this afternoon, is it's been a group of like-minded people all trying to get to the same place, all trying to help one another together. And the level of practice and the aptitude for practice today has been some of the best I've seen. It's really good. Really nice attitude and level and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm can be misused. It's not to be aggressive. And enthusiasm is not, I'm going to go like me. Enthusiasm, yeah, I'll try that. Help that person do this and get them to help me. Who feels I got something from today's lesson? Yeah, I think everyone's got something from it. Me as well. Every time I teach, I get something else from it. Normally, I realise what I'm doing wrong. That's one of the biggest things you can do as a teacher. And one of the best reasons to teach is because you fluff it left, right and centre. There's nothing more embarrassing than getting it wrong in front of a class. You can't hide it either. You get it wrong, you get whoops, and you try it. And that's just the way it is. So, you know, I wish I was at a level where I never got it wrong, but I got it. So it's a real team effort. You guys help me, and hopefully I can help you. Good. Hey. Wait for it.